Hello again, college football fans. It is Wednesday, November 17th, 2021, and this is your Arkansas at Alabama preview and prediction. Alabama's one win away from clinching the SEC Western Division Championship and earning their spot in Atlanta December 4th against the undisputed number one king of college football right now, Georgia Bulldogs. Arkansas had a wonderful September. Sam Pittman has done a wonderful job since he's been there. I mean, last year they didn't win a lot of games, but it was a strange season with COVID and only conference games on their schedule and everything. But I think, considering what was happening, they did more last year than anyone expected, and then this year just splashed right onto the scene. They were the talk of college football the first month in September, getting big wins over Texas and Texas A&M, and at that time those both seemed like a huge deal, and they still are a huge deal for a team like Arkansas. They got railroaded a little bit at Georgia in Athens, but that's happened to everybody that's gone to Athens this year. So really no fault there. Now they did stub their toe a little bit against Auburn and Mississippi State, but Mississippi State, as it turns out, was not really a stubbed toe. Neither was Auburn, really, for that matter. It's just a brutal SEC Western Division, and unless you're just a Donkey Kong, it's really hard to get through there unscathed. But nevertheless, Arkansas and Sam Pittman have been overachievers ever since he's gotten there, and it looks like they are continuing their climb up the staircase in the Western Division. Now, looking at the stats going into this one, Alabama, they've been getting a lot of flack because of their defense. I mean, ever since Pete Golding arrived onto the scene, nobody really around Tuscaloosa has been very happy with what's been going on that side of the ball. But when you look at the stats, they are top 5 in the nation in total defense allowed. They're in the top 10, I believe, in points allowed. So they're not that far behind the vaunted, legendary Georgia defense over there in Athens right now. The thing that I've harped on all year that I don't like about this team, and that has been the problem, and it was the reason that we lost to Texas A&M. It was the reason that we weren't able to step on the throat of Florida when we had them on the ropes. It's also the reason that we struggled to put away LSU, and that is that we cannot get the running game going the way that we're used to at Tuscaloosa. And I can't believe that I'm about to say this, but especially with the injuries that we've had back there now, and, Brian Robinson is the only seasoned back there that has any real experience in tough SEC-type games. And I don't think that we should, obviously you can't abandon the run in this league, but I don't think we should worry too much about trying to force it in there, because I just don't think it's there this year. You've seen this trend really with Alabama the last few years, where the offensive line is just an absolute juggernaut at pass protection up until this year. But even before, last year's offensive line was one of the best we've ever had at Alabama, but it wasn't one of the best run blocking offensive lines that we've ever had in Alabama. That would probably go to the 2012 squad. But they were an absolute rock. Mac Jones had all week to look at his receivers back there last year with that O-line, but you could still see the trend going in the direction of that the run blocking is just not there. Teams just are not focusing on their running game the way that they used to. It's a passing quarterback world right now, and so I think that's what we should focus on. We've got the best quarterback in America in Bryce Young, in my opinion. We have probably the best receiving core, even though it's a shadow of its former self at Alabama. I still think we've got the best one in the country with Mechie and Williams, and I also think that we've got the best tight end core in the country with Cameron Latu and Jaleel Billingsley, even though they've had trouble catching the ball. But that's just one of those things that kind of comes and goes. You catch them on the right day, and they can catch those intermediate passes that are coming from Bryce, and all of a sudden our offense is just clicking like a well-oiled machine like we're used to seeing it the last few years. So I think that that's really what we should focus on in this game, especially considering that Arkansas likes to run the umbrella defense. They're not really focusing on putting a whole bunch of guys in the box and shutting down a running game. So our running game should be able to do what we need it to do in this game, which is not much. I mean, I don't even think we have to get over 100 yards to win this ball game and to win it pretty well, because when you flip things around, this is the kind of team that our defense thrives on. They don't have a very dynamic passing game. They do have a running quarterback, which in the past has given Alabama defenses some fits. But as the years have rolled on, they have gotten better at handling that, especially when it's this kind of guy. He's more of a power running kind of back. You know, he's not a fast scat guy that's going to just suddenly get outside of the tackle box and then, you know, outrun our linebackers for 15, 20-yard gains. If he does get some yards, he'll break up through the middle, and hopefully our safeties and backers will be back there to make sure that he doesn't get past, 7 or 8 yards. And I don't feel like that's going to be that big of a big trouble for our defense in this game anyway. I feel like our front seven is going to take control of this game early and keep it there. Now, obviously, our backs are probably good for at least one good bust in this game, maybe two. But when you look at the Arkansas defense, one thing that stood out when I was looking at the stats of these two teams, Arkansas is not good at getting to the quarterback. They are second to last in the league. Only Vanderbilt has done a worse job at generating sacks, and that is probably a bad sign for the Razorbacks in this game, because the only games where Bryce Young has looked human, to be honest, were Texas A&M, LSU. There were some times in the Tennessee game where it seemed like they had him a little bit frazzled, but that was all because of pressure, and they were getting to him, and they were getting to him fast. And so I don't see Arkansas's defense being able to rattle Bryce that much in this one. I see this game starting out pretty slow for both offenses, both teams. I think Alabama will get a field goal on their first possession. Then I think Arkansas will probably, if they don't get a field goal, they'll come away with nothing on their first possession. And I don't see them getting to a point that early to get a field goal. I do believe that Alabama will go ahead and get another touchdown to close out the first quarter. So I'm seeing a 10-0 first quarter Alabama on that side of the ball. Sometime in the second quarter, I would not be surprised to see our defensive backs bust and allow a long pass that may get all the way to the end zone for them. So that'll be 7 for them. But I do believe that we will go ahead and get 2 more touchdowns in that second quarter. Probably Bryce Young. I imagine we'll do a lot of dinking and dunking in this game, and that will be the way that we control the clock and control the ball. So I'm looking at a 24-7 Alabama lead. When we go into the second half, I think at that point Arkansas will have exhausted all of their tricks and chances on offense. I believe that our defense will clamp down in the second half and prevent them to a couple of field goal tries. Alabama will get 1 touchdown late in the third quarter, and then they'll get another one in the fourth quarter, and that will be the end of their point total. And so that will come to a 38-13 Alabama victory over Arkansas in Tuscaloosa. It's a 2:30 CBS game, and that's what I see happening in that one. And I will have the predictions for the rest of the league and the rest of the nation coming out very soon. Thank you.